Hey, how are you doing? It's nice to see you again. I was going to do this yesterday, but we had a big storm and the battery ran out, and I had some other excuses if you need them too, but today's really nice. And I wanted to stay in touch with you and try to do these as often as possible, so I'm sorry missed a few days. I'll try to be better about that. And I wanted to tell you, some of our listeners have written to me asking an interesting question. You know, we've talked a lot about real health information over the last 3 years on Lost Arts Radio. And you need to understand that's violently suppressed in the US and the rest of the world. That's why we're doing what we're doing. But what about this listener said, what about free energy and clean energy sources? Because that's another important issue and certainly affects health on a global scale and individual scale. If you can have energy that you don't have a bill for and that gets to run all of your appliances and household and car and everything else. So we've heard that exists now, and is that true? And if so, where are these technologies? Good questions, and if they're being hidden, then by whom? So it's a really complex system that has this under control, but at the top levels, the same people are hiding the real health information and the real clean energy information. We haven't needed oil for more than 100 years in recent times. Before that, there have been very advanced systems too, but we also never needed nuclear power. That was completely ridiculous, and the people who invented it were not idiots. At the top levels, they understood it was invented for a purpose, and that wasn't to solve all your energy needs. But here's our situation, really. We've got 7 billion plus people kept really brilliantly under control by a few in the top positions of power, and these are not people that you've heard of. You know of some of the ones that serve them at various levels, but at the top, as far as I know, they don't use their real names, and they have an intention and a plan, and it's been going on for generation after generation after generation, thousands of years. I've traced it back myself, at least 4,000, but it goes way back before that. And most of their servants don't even know what the real plan is. They think it's something like, it depends what level they're at. The people in the normal corporate levels, they're just after money and power and really happy to sell out any semblance of morality that they may have had just to get what they think is a better position for themselves. A lot of them are super intelligent, but they're really not intelligent as far as knowing about natural laws and the fact that if we hurt other people, it comes back to us, so that we can learn from that. And that is operating everywhere. You can't get away from it or be super smart and clever and figure it out and avoid it and do something bad and not have to learn your lessons. So most of the servants of the highest powers in the system don't really know who they're serving, and even the ones that are really high up above the elected leaders and all that, they think that it's going to be population reduction and they're going to be in the privileged elite that's going to get the world as their playground. Obviously, I'm not going deep into this subject right now. We'll do that in the club format. It's a little bit safer and we have more time. But this is just to let you know the organization is amazing, and what they're doing is not trying to kill us all right now, because they have the technology now to do that overnight or sooner. They're doing it slowly, step by step, with certain notices that they're giving, milestones that they have to pass, and basically what it amounts to is a ritual sacrifice. It's a ceremony they're doing, and it buys us some time to find a solution and turn it around, which is our ulterior motive at Lost Arts Radio and in the Planetary Healing Club. I don't think it can be done by force at this point or by so-called law, because the rulers just think that's a joke. They don't respect law anyway. They want to make believe that they do, which means really great programs like In Power might buy us some time. But ultimately, if the law gets too irritating to them, they'll just go to direct force. And we need to understand that's their intention. They're not going to give up thousands and thousands of years of planning and focus and planning to get all these wonderful benefits for themselves just because somebody figures out the law. They're not going to do that. They're not going to give it up as long as they're in the current mindset. But we do have a chance to do it a different way, and that's their biggest fear, because at the top level, they know that this is true. And that's not by law or by force or by money, it's by consciousness. And that is really ultimately what Planetary Healing Club, that whole idea and format is about. We're going to talk about the real tools and information to get, first of all, your own health and energy back, but that's only step one. And that's enough for most people. I mean, they'd be really happy to not worry about so-called aging and degenerative disease, getting sick all the time, and just have their mind foggy. If they could get rid of that stuff, they'd be happy. But what I'm saying is that's step one. Then the real work gets going, and that is the number one taboo. That's the number one forbidden knowledge that you're never supposed to find. It's all about who you actually are, what's keeping you alive, the life current, what it really is, how to reconnect to it, and that gets back your normal abilities. Anyway, after you get your health back and you're not worried about aging or diseases or degenerative things or anything like that, then the real work gets going and you're in a better position to actually do it. And you find out that we're not the helpless, dependent, stupid, temporary little beings that we've been told we are. We've been told that if you are trying to recognize your real abilities, that is egotistical, blasphemous, or whatever they want to say. But no, it's just the truth. You were created from something incredible. And it's not what the world of science and education wants you to think. So if you're brave enough to learn some more about this and actually put it into action and do what you can with it, then what I'm personally inviting you to do, the reason I'm standing up here publicly, even though my preference is never to be visible in the public at all, I threw that away once I realized that was not meant to happen. And I'm here to invite you to the Saturday club meeting. It's lostartsradio.com/club. That's where you'll find out the other details. And it will give you your private access credentials to get into the club meeting. It's once a week on Saturday night, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern US time. But it's available all over the world, at least where they're not totally blocking these sites. And don't worry if you're in Europe or somewhere and you don't want to get up at 3 in the morning to hear the live show, then as a club member you have access to all the archives. Last week we had a lot of technical trouble, but that should hopefully be over now. And if you get to hear the archives and then you want your own questions or input considered for the live show, just email those to me at richard@lostartsradio.com. richard@lostartsradio.com, and I will read every single one. At least for the moment I can do that, and I'll answer as time permits. Somebody asked if the club is free. No, it's not free. We need a way to raise money to keep this work going. I know I'm now working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not paid work, so we need this to expand. We need to fund the nonprofit, which is called Lost Arts Research Institute. And that's a nonprofit 501c3. It doesn't discuss the controversial things that the radio program does. That's a separate entity. And what we need to keep going is to fund the nonprofit. Anybody that's got great sources to do that don't have bad strings attached, please let me know. But in the meantime, $10 at a time, we figure, without hyping products or making believe I'm real enthusiastic about something you have to buy when I'm not. I mean, I won't do that anyway, but we needed a clean way to fund the building of our school where these things will be demonstrated firsthand in person, and you'll have a chance to experience them if you want to go there, or it'll be electronically reaching out to the rest of the world. That takes tons of money, and we don't have any right now. So I figured rather than wait for a big investor, let's do this little pieces at a time. To get into the club, it's $10 minimum per month, and you mark recurrent or monthly donation to the Lost Arts Research Institute. And if you have money and you want to help us, do 100 or 1,000 a month. We'll get there faster. I mean, if we could start building tomorrow, we've got the details to do it. So we just need the money, and I won't do anything that compromises the energy of this project at all, even a little bit. I'd rather see it never happen. So whether we're going to get the money to do it physically or not, we're going to do it, by the club electronic medium over the airwaves worldwide. In the meantime, we'll do as much as we can, and I'm really after getting a small group of you who are willing to do the work. And I know that without a majority, just a small group really doing that, we can heal the planet. And it's not a philosophy, it's not a belief. This is based on the last 50 years of my own research, and it's real. And I know by making about as many stupid mistakes in learning about it as you could possibly make, I'll share this with you so that you don't have to do the same thing in your own life, and you can go much faster, hopefully get way beyond where I got with it, and do something that'll make a change that is not through argument, not through force, not through having to convince anybody of anything or sign 1 million petitions or anything. This is way stronger, and if you're brave enough, we'll share it. Saturday, and just to get the details and your private access, go to lostartsradio.com/club, and I'm going to keep coming back to you as often as I can here. And this will be on YouTube, all free. Hopefully it'll be something that's useful to you. Okay? Thank you. You're really appreciated. You're an incredible being, and my job is here not to tell you about me, but I'm here to tell you about you. lostartsradio.com/club. We're going to say what you're not allowed to say, and then you're going to decide how far you want to take it. Thank you. Talk to you in a while.